Well, from the moment he could walk and talk, my next guest knew nothing more than harness racing, and he knew that at some stage of his life that was all he wanted to be. Mark Hayes is a very talented Victoria trainer driver, and it's a delight to catch up with him. Well, Mark, good to catch up with you. It's been a long time in between drinks since you've been here at Club Menangle. You did drive in a heat of the Chariots of Fire.
Yeah, a long time ago. I drove for the brother-in-law, Metro Mike, for Emma Stewart training him at the time, and horse in front of him choked down and we finished up being pulled up, so it was a long way for not much fish. So
Metro Mike was a favourite horse of yours.
yeah, he was a brother-in-law's horse. He's a bit tricky, but I think I won 13 on him, and then Glenn Craven took over driving him and he won another 13 on him, so I think he earned about 250,000, so he's a nice old horse he was.
Driving for Anton Galeno in the final event on the card. Must be looking forward to renewing your association here with the big track.
Yeah, we watch it all the time of a Saturday night and on Tuesday, but now you go on to Mondays. But yeah, we're pretty keen watching them, especially when Emilio and Mary have got something running around. We like to see what the kids have been doing.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Emilio and Mary a bit later on. Of course, we're talking about the stride horses. Pretty spot on when I said from the time you could walk and talk, harness racing was always going to be your passion.
Oh, that's all I've ever wanted to do. I used to work horses before I went to school. When I come home from school, I did year 5 at high school and they said it's leaving, so I left. So I went straight to working horses, and that's all I've ever done.
Apparently when they gave you the okay to leave, they couldn't see you from dust.
No, I was out of there as quick as I could. Yeah, no problems at all getting out. So, but that's all I've ever wanted to do, and it's not a job. It's your passion and you love it. So you don't get out of bed in the morning and say, oh gosh, I've got to go to work, or you're going to work for 12 hours a day and do whatever. You just like it, so that's what you do.
You got this passion of harness racing from your late father, Reg, who was a very successful and a very astute trainer driver in his own right, albeit a hobby trainer driver.
Only a hobby trainer driver, and he only got sort of the second or third graders, but he could sort of win a race here and there with them, and that's where it started from, and have no regrets.
Your mum Lorraine lived to the ripe age of 90, recently passed away. She was the brains and the backbone of the organisation.
Yeah, went before I could, got my licence, and Mum was always, organising where you're racing, and I used to have RDOs off at school, and we called them race days off. So she'd be sitting on the kitchen table and have 4 or 5 teaspoons out and how to push out and how not to go or what to do, and, hold your spot. So that's all I've ever known.
Before school and after, you were working the horses?
Yeah, well, Dad had a full-time job, so there might be 5 or 6 horses there, so I worked some before I went, and then I'd work a couple before I got home. It was all right in the summertime, but in the wintertime it was a bit ordinary.
You reached the age of 14, you couldn't wait to start driving in those trials?
No, I drove every week at Gower Park trials for ages, and used to drive against Neville Welsh and Gordon Rothacker. Brian Gaff was only a boy then, Bob Purcell. They were at the top of the tree at the time, so you learned off those. I drove against Mr. Rothacker when I was going for my licence, and I'd be inside him and he said, "Push out, lad." So I half push him out and he slapped me back in. The next week he said, "Push out, lad." Same thing. After 6 weeks I shoved him out the way, and I come back off the track and Dad gave me a smack behind the ear and said, "You can't drive like that to Mr. Rothacker. Go and apologise to him." So I went up to apologise and said, "Sorry, Mr. Rothacker, for pushing you out on the corner." He said, "I've been trying to teach you that for 6 weeks, lad." So he was a really good mentor.
And I was just going to mention he was very influential in your career, Gordon Rothacker, and it must have been even more special when on Gordon Rothacker Medal Night you received an award on that particular night when you were having something to eat, so it was totally by surprise for your services to harness racing.
Yeah, my wife knew all about it, but I had no idea until they read my name out, so I nearly choked on what I was eating, but that was very, very special.
You've said opportunities have dried up these days, and to quote you, you said the old buggers don't get the opportunities, but you're delighted to see so much young talent coming through the ranks.
Oh, there's a lot of young drivers going around, and they drive very well. I've got nieces and nephews that are Hannah Parrish won a race last night, Tristan Larson won a race the week before, so they're the nephews and nieces that are going around. So, but like us old guys, we jump on the trials and jump on the wild ones and the ones that won't steer and won't pace properly, and then race day the kids jump up them.
You've also kept a very close eye on Brett and Declan Murphy.
Oh yes, Deck is a junior driver up here now. He used to be at Ballarat with his dad and his brother Brent, and I gave him drives on my horses to get his licence, so he's sort of like half a family member, so yeah, he's a good guy, Deck.
You treat trial days on a Sunday as a day off, but you're very keen to watch and educate the young people coming through.
Well, we take horses out there to work after the trials, and say to Brent or Deck, jump on this one and you'll work 2 or 3 together, and then they get to the trials and they're going for their licences, so you give them drives, so you try to help them as much as you can.
The Maryborough Racing Club was such an integral part of your career.
Yes, has been. I I've got a horse called Sir Patrick that goes okay, and this fella that's racing tonight, we take him out to the track a couple of times a week just to fast work him because it's a big track, 1,000 metres around, a bit further, and they don't get round my track too good, the trotters, too quick, but they take them out to the track a couple of times a week, and the track's always good to work on.
Apart from your passion for harness racing training and driving, you served 32 years with the committee and also 12 years as the vice president.
Yep, did me time. So been there a long time and seen a lot of changes and things happening. So just wish harness racing was travelling better in Victoria all the way around.
Your wife Susan's also been a very important part of your career.
Oh yeah, she does all the paperwork and tells me where I'm racing and where I'm not racing and what I've done wrong. So she'll let me know tonight if I do something wrong.
You mentioned Emilio and Mary Rosati. How did that association come about?
I was breaking horses in for Noel Alexander and Jane Davies, and Emilio had horses there at the time, and they asked me to break in a horse for Emilio, and I've been doing them for 25 years for him. So breaking his babies for him. So most of the elites that are racing around, I've had something to do with.
You mentioned Noel and Jane. What an outstanding combination that's been for so many decades.
A long time, yeah, and I do all their babies for them. They've had. The last time we had for them was Commodus to come up here and ran second in the Derby a few weeks ago. So I do a few for them. I've got I think I've got 2 to do them for them when I go back home, and they keep me supplied with a few, as well as Mary and Emilio.
It must give you a great deal of satisfaction to see the young horses that you've had a big influence on go through the ranks and turn out to be stars of the industry.
Well, you get them and you start from scratch, and you'll say, well, this one goes good and this one's not quite as good as what I like, and you scratch your head and you think, oh well, and you go watch them go to the races, and this one's gone really good and this one's gone great. So you break them in and you hope you've got a rough idea how they're going to go, but a lot of times they surprise you.
Mark, you had a young horse by the name of Elite Stride come through the ranks. You said to Emilio once, I'd love to buy this horse, but I don't have the money, but I'll donate a kidney.
Yes, if you need a kidney, I'll give you a kidney. I'll do anything to keep him. And he turned out to be a really nice horse, won some really good races, a lot of speed, and he's turning out to be a nice sire. I think he's had 7 2-year-olds to the races this year for 4 winners in a couple of seconds, so they're going pretty good.
What made you feel so special about that particular horse?
He was just in the cart and he could just run, and he had manners and he had a bit of character about him. It's just, you jumped on him and you say, well, this feels really good.
You had a couple of horses that were outstanding. Sir Patrick, you've already mentioned. Igniting Stride was another one.
Igniting, he was a bit of a handful. Emilio sent him down, he was a bit of a pain, so I finished up working through the bush and around on the roads, and I think it gave him 10 starts for 4 wins in 4 seconds. So, and then he come back up here and went a miss. So, but he was a bit of a pain.
You mentioned how much Gordon Rothinger meant to you, and also your learning experiences and influence, but Neville Welsh was another one.
Yes, Neville was very good. He was very, they call him the Iceman. He was very cool and calm, and Clinton, his son's my age, and he won the Gordon Rothinger a few weeks ago. So those guys that went around, and you'd be with them in a trial and they'd say push out, shove in, and let you in and let you out, and teach you how to do it, have a bit of a racecraft.
You think it's the same these days with all those hard heads that you've been mentioning, the ones now with the young people coming through? Is the hard head still there to teach them?
I don't know whether it's so many, and I don't know whether some of the young ones are that keen to cop a bit of advice. They jump on and drive a few winners and say, well, you're only an old bugger, so what are you talking about? So I know what I'm doing. So, but they improve all the time. James Herbertson's is a prime example. He went to the trials at Maryborough and he jumped on some high horses and got his licence, and he's a great kid as well. So he's our leading driver, and you're just so proud of him how going so good.
James is an exceptional talent.
Yes, he is, and they just seem to run for him, and has done that from day dot. Yeah.
And no doubt, the experience overseas, he's just returned and he got straight back in the sulk. And started driving winners straight away. But that experience in North America is just going to fine-tune him even more.
Yeah, well, he won races in America, and he won races in France and Sweden. So horses just jumped. His first day back at Melton, I think he won 3 races first day, then he won 2 the next night. So they just run for him.
Yeah, I've been a fan of James's for a number of years.
And he's a really good guy. He's a really nice bloke.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure to interview him, and as you said, he is a gentleman.
Yes, he's lovely. Yep, he's a terrific fella. Yep.
Well, Mark, it's been great to catch up with you. I'm pleased that the weather's not too cold for you here tonight.
We were up here a fortnight ago. We came up for Grandparents' Day, and Tucker went around in the $25,000 race, and my grandson come out, and he was freezing his socks off, so he didn't come tonight. And tonight's a lovely night, so my granddaughter come instead.
Well, Mark, it's been great to catch up. Good luck with Aldeburgh and Tucker in the final event. How did you get involved with Anton Galina, by the way?
Anton was at Ballarat working for Yabby Dam Farms, and he used to bring his horse up to the trials, and sometimes I help him gear horses up and mucking around, and we were looking for a trainer to look after him for a few weeks while I've just had a full shoulder replacement, so tonight's my first drive back.
Well, hopefully you don't have to get too vigorous over the final stages then.
Hopefully he doesn't go too hard early and pull out of his joint.
Great to catch up with you, Mark, and good luck.
Thanks very much, mate. Thank you.